This video will show you the simplest path to 50K per month as a hybrid consultant. Now, this still applies to agency, coaching, consulting, and info products, but it's a new way to scale your offer that allows you to make more profit, have way less stress, way less complexity, smaller teams, leaner operations, and ultimately just live the kind of life that you want, which is the reason why you got into online business in the first place. Now, if you don't know me, my name's Simon Shaw. Here I am here with a beautiful little cat. And about 4 years ago, I started one of the first short-form content agencies where we worked with a lot of top-name personal brands, scaled their personal brand content, and also ran their organic monetization systems behind the scenes. So a lot of the guys that you watch on social media, myself and my team have been behind those brands. But even though that agency was making me great money, we did over multi-seven figures in revenue, it was slowly killing me, okay? The stress every day was insane. There was always fires to put out. The systems of agencies are just super complex. All the project management and workflows and deadlines. I had massive teams, and I still have a massive team as well, and lots of meetings, and that's the biggest culprit I absolutely hate. But there was one thing I really liked from the agency model. And so I wanted to keep that one thing and not discard it. But there was also things from the consulting model that I really liked, but I didn't like as well. And so I thought to myself, why not take the good things, leave out the bad things, and combine them into what I call now the hybrid model. And that's why I'm calling it the hybrid consultant. And this has allowed me to make way more profit as a consultant. It's allowed me to have much less stress, far simpler business operations. And ultimately, I just get to live a much higher quality of life. I get to travel when I want. I get to work on my own schedule. I don't have people constantly booking in meetings with me or fires to put out every single day. The hybrid model has allowed me to do that. And this has allowed me to collect these kinds of sums of money. And, these are essentially payments from clients. These are wires that I've received, 30 grand, 22 grand, 45 grand, 45K here, 25K here. And look, I know people are flexing numbers all the time. Believe me, I don't even want to show numbers because I think your value should speak for itself. But unfortunately, in today's world, people like to see numbers. Now, I want to be clear. This is not a get rich quick thing, okay? This will take you work. And if you're looking for some kind of magic pill to swallow where tomorrow or next week or even next month you wake up and you're all of a sudden extremely rich, I encourage you just to leave the video because I don't want to be communicating with that kind of person that just cannot imagine that business takes work. Now, when you do get this set up, it's significantly less work than an actual traditional agency or consulting business. We have systems in place that make everything a lot easier, but it will still take you work. And so if you're looking for a magic pill, please just exit the video. Now, I want to talk to you about the invisibility dilemma. And this is the number one problem that most consultants, coaches, agency owners all face today. And I guarantee you definitely face this as well. And I want to tell you a little story, if you will. So imagine you're in this little medieval town here, very beautiful, and you're walking the streets and there's hundreds and thousands of people walking alongside you. And in the corner of the street, you see a town crier, the guy who sits at the side of the road and shouts advice back in like medieval times or whatever. Now, this guy, even though he's shouting really useful things, he's giving great information, he's giving great advice. And if someone had just stopped and listened to him, they might have actually have gotten the solution to the problem that they're facing in life. But unfortunately, this guy is entirely invisible, regardless of what he says is actually good information or if he is even a great guy or, has a lot of experience, right? He's still invisible. Everybody ignores him. But about 100 miles away, atop this mountain, there is a beautiful temple. And inside this temple, there's a man that they call the Oracle. Now, people from this town will literally walk hundreds of miles to speak to the Oracle and get his advice and listen to his words, and everything they say, they internalize it, they take it on board, and they take it seriously. This guy is revered. Even though he's hundreds of miles away, he's on top of a mountain, you could maybe die by getting there, they revere him. They revere what he says, and they revere everything that he tells them, okay? But what you don't know about the town crier and the Oracle is that they actually went to the same university. They got the same education. Okay, and the advice they give is largely the same. If someone had went to the Oracle and listened to what he said, and then they were back in the town and they listened to the town crier, they listened to what he said, well, they would have seen that the message was basically the same. It's like, oh, they could have just got that info from the town crier, but why would they have walked hundreds of miles to the Oracle? So you have to realize that the same message has a vastly different result depending on who is giving the message. So it's all about the messenger, okay? So The problem is that you're an expert in your field, right? You know a lot about business or health or relationships or whatever it may be. You're an expert, but you're absolutely invisible. You're currently the town crier. You're sitting at the side of the street, you're screaming to people and they're just not listening. So you need to become the oracle. The oracle is the person that is just getting all of the inbound traffic. They have all the visibility. And because they get visibility, they make way more money than everybody else. Just think about it. There's probably a guy in your market right now, in your industry, who you know for a fact is not as good as you, not as smart as you. His offer isn't as good, but he makes way more money. And the reason is very clear, is because he has way more visibility than you do. In today's market, if you want to get the best clients, the highest paying, most premium clients, and a consistent lead flow of clients inbound, you have to position yourself as the oracle in your market, not as the town crier like most people unfortunately do. And this is why I essentially created the hybrid consultant model, because a foundational pillar of the hybrid consultant model is getting more visibility and positioning yourself as the oracle in your market space. Now, compared to the old models of doing everything, now old models of coaching, consulting, selling info products, or running an agency, all these models traditionally have really low profit, super high complexity, so many systems, it's annoying. Massive teams, tens and tens or even hundreds of employees, depending on how big you get. Cold traffic selling with huge ad budgets. You have to spend tens of thousands of dollars just to make 2x ROAS or a 3x ROAS. It's kind of a risk. People are begging in the cold DMs, constantly spamming cold DMs to everybody to hopefully get some business. Tons of sales resistance, because when you do get a sales call from a cold source, they just don't trust you. They don't know who you are. And you have low trust with prospects because, again, they don't know who you are. They have no reason to trust you because you're just some person from the cold DM or whatever it may be. But the agency model had one thing that I really, really like, and it's something that I decided to keep in my business in the hybrid model. And that's ultra premium prices with clients that pay for years. Okay. Now, most consultants don't have that. They sell, a one-time offer at a few grand and then they're done. And they have no plan for how to actually get clients that pay them multi-six figures per year or across their lifetime value. Okay. I really like this about the agency model. So I built it into the hybrid consultant model. And this is why it's a hybrid model, because we can take the best parts of what I like about running my agency. I can take the best parts about what I like about running consulting offers, and I can combine them together to make a hybrid. And so the hybrid consultant model, it has high profit between 80 to 90%. It's very simple. It has way leaner operations. To run this type of business, you don't have to have a large team. You have warm, ready to buy prospects. You don't have to convince people to buy. They come onto your calendar or they get into your system already pre-sold. Prospects come to you. It's all inbound. You can close deals in the DMs. You don't even need to have sales calls when you execute this correctly. And if you did have a sales call, it's the most low resistance selling you will ever have, because people have just seen you based on the models we're about to explain in the video. You have high trust due to the systems we're putting in place, and you have multi-six-figure LTV, lifetime value, on your ultra premium clients. And now we're going to be getting into this later in the video on exactly how to get ultra premium clients. Now, why should you incorporate the hybrid consultant model into your business, or even pivot entirely over to the hybrid consultant model? Now, you need to choose your difficulty, right? And this is essentially consultants today and agency owners and whatever. They think that everything has to be hard. And so they just think that there's only two choices, are the hard way and another hard way. But that's not the case, right? Like, let's say you were doing playing a video game. You can set the difficulty to really high, right? Maybe you want a challenge, but of course your character's going to die more often. You're going to lose points, whatever it is, but you don't mind because it's more fun, right? And it passes the time, and it doesn't have any kind of real world implications on your life, right? You're not going to die in real life, and you're not going to lose anything in real life if you choose to play on hard mode. But business is literally the opposite. If you choose to play on hard mode, you run the risk of losing a lot of money, actually having real world implications in your life, because things are significantly more difficult and it's harder to reach various goals at different stages, okay? So if you chose the hard mode, you have literally this path of just ups and downs and backs and forth, and eventually you might actually hit your goal, okay? You might hit your goal after a super long time. But what you don't know is you can actually hit the same goal whilst playing on easy mode significantly faster. And that is why we do the hybrid consultant model, because it makes getting to our goals of 20, 30, 40, 50K per month or 100K per month significantly easier. We don't have to fight uphill, okay? You don't have to play life on hard mode at all. You can choose easy mode and still hit the same goal. It's not honorable to do something difficult when you could get the same output, the same results by playing on easy mode. It's the classic term, work smarter, not harder. Everybody just thinks that you have to work hard, and they completely forget about working smarter. Now, the first concept I want to instill in you is the Coca-Cola method, okay? Now, think about this. You see Coke everywhere. There are advertisements everywhere, right? You see it on TV, on social media, billboards, bus stops. You see them everywhere, but you can't buy Coke through their ads. You just can't. You can't click on a button and add it to your cart and get it shipped to your door, right? You have to go out elsewhere and buy it. And it's because Coke realizes that some people are thirsty right now, okay? And they know that most people will be thirsty later. And so they need to position themselves in front of everybody. So when the thirsty later people are finally thirsty, Coke is the first person they think of, okay? So when the waiter comes to their table and they say, what do you want to drink? They say Coke. They don't say Pepsi or whatever. They say Coke. Anytime they take Pepsi is when they don't have Coke and they're saying, oh, we only have Pepsi. But Coke knows if they're everywhere, then the first drink that comes to your mind is Coca-Cola. And this is the same concept we need to instill into our business. We need to be omnipresent everywhere. So whenever our followers are ready to buy, then they think of us, okay? So some of your followers will buy now. Some of them will buy later. And honestly, most of your followers will never buy, right? They're just lurkers. They'll just watch you. But thankfully, with the hybrid consultant model, we don't have to have thousands of buyers to actually run a business, right? We can have a much smaller client base and make way more money. So what we need to do is build an audience of followers who will buy at some point. Like I said, some will be now, some will be later. Maybe this week, next month, 6 months, in a year. Doesn't matter. We build the audience. We remind people that we're there. And when the time comes that one particular person sees our calls to action, then they'll take action on the offer. And so in order to stay top of mind at all times, we achieve this by building what I call the social flywheel system, okay? And what this is a content system that constantly keeps us top of mind of our prospects so that we can attract them into our ecosystem, getting them to know who we are, get them into our ecosystem by following us. We nurture them with our top of funnel content and with our trust building content, and then we convert them with our conversion mechanisms. And I'm going to go into all of this right now. Now, the entire customer journey is as follows, right? In the hybrid consultant model. So they go from unknown, they see your content, they become a follower, okay? As they're a follower, they see more content and they start to become interested in what you have to offer and how you can help them. And so then they start to research you. They go into research mode using the strategic trust assets that we give them to actually research us, thereby increasing our conversions and making them see what we want them to see. Then we put them through a conversion mechanism. So they convert and they become a client. But it doesn't end there. Most people, they just end their customer journey at this point. But most of your money, it's the Pareto principle. 80% of your money will come from 20% of your clients. And so we want to put them through a gold ascension and if possible, a platinum ascension. We're going to get into specifically what these are and how we do them in just a second. So how does the system work in practice? Now, this is what the process looks like. And I know it might seem a little bit complicated, but I'm going to explain it right now. So the first step is putting out short form content on Instagram. Now, you might be thinking, oh, what about YouTube? What about Twitter or LinkedIn or all these different things or podcasts or whatever? Instagram is the best combination of high quality traffic, meaning people who have money to buy things, and also high reach. Instagram has that in combination, okay? TikTok has high reach, low quality. Other platforms have different combinations, but all you need to know is Instagram is where we're going to focus our primary efforts. Now, we also have YouTube. And YouTube is where we post our trust building assets. Now, our long form content where people can watch for 30 minutes and essentially decide to work with us and buy our products and get further nurtured and educated on what we're talking about. Now, Instagram and YouTube, they feed into each other because Instagram will create traffic from scratch and you'll send that traffic to YouTube to watch trust building assets. But YouTube will also act as an origin source of traffic as well. And so you can then send people from YouTube over to Instagram via your CTAs and your link in bios, etc. So they kind of work both in harmony. Now, your tertiary traffic is Facebook and TikTok, right? Now, the thing with these two platforms is Facebook has a much older demographic, but still gives you very high reach. So depending on your niche, that might actually benefit you. And TikTok has a slightly younger demographic, slightly more broke, to be honest, but it gives you massive reach. Now, I don't mind having these two in play, but they're not going to be where the most of your monetization comes from. That's why they're tertiary traffic, kind of optional platforms. They really take no effort to post your short form content over there. But what we want to do is essentially just link back to our Instagram via those channels and essentially compile all the serious people into Instagram. From Instagram, the way we start to monetize our traffic is through a tool called ManyChat. And ManyChat is an automation software where people can essentially give keyword triggers and receive some kind of automated sequence in return. And that automated sequence could be to give lead magnets, it could be to kick off a setter flow, whatever it may be. But the ManyChat sequence is essential for automating all of this and really removing yourself from the sales process entirely. So we'll have some automation set up where people can comment certain keywords on our short-form content, or they can DM us directly certain keywords, and that kicks off an automated flow. Now, from the automated flow, the first thing that happens is we collect the email. So the prospect sends us a keyword. We say, we'll send you the thing. What's your best email for me to send it to? They'll give the email, and then you build your email list passively. Okay, you can add tens or hundreds of new subscribers every single day, or possibly even thousands of subscribers. We have a client pulling hundreds of thousands of comments every single month just using ManyChat automations. And so their email list is absolutely massive. As a benefit, we add them to email list, but through the ManyChat automation, we can send them to a landing page. Now, this landing page could either have a VSL or a written landing page. And this will just explain the offer, all the details, possibly the pricing, and it will essentially put them in two different directions. One, you could send them to a direct checkout. You can split test this to see if people will purchase. Now, when you have a smaller audience, it's usually better to go straight to sales call. But when your content is really performing well and you're getting tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of views, on each video, you will have enough authority to send to direct checkout. Now, on the sales call section, there's a very, very important step. And this is how we make sure that our calendar and our schedule is protected, or the schedule of the closer is protected as well. And we use a thing called Typeform. So Typeform. And what Typeform allows us to do is it's an automated form that allows us to qualify prospects. We can ask them how much revenue they're making, how much they're willing to invest, when they're looking to get started, etc. All these qualifying questions. And based on their responses, we can either accept them or reject them. So only people that make enough money, are willing to invest, are looking to move forward right now, can actually get booked on your calendar for a sales call. Okay, everyone else gets rejected. And this is how we protect our time. Okay, this is how we automate this is how we can remove setters. Before, without using this, you literally need to have a discovery call. You need to have someone else call them up and qualify that prospect and waste all this time and pay that setter a 5 to 10% commission on the deals closed. But now we can basically remove all that just by putting a type form into our funnel and hyper qualifying everybody on an automated basis. And so then you get on the sales call, and because they've been through all of your stuff, they've seen your trust building assets, which have been shared to them through ManyChat, through Link and Buyer, through Instagram stories. These will be extremely easy closes and you will get the sale. Okay. Now, just to go back to the second way to monetize, once your content is performing super well, you can send people directly to a checkout. You don't necessarily have to have the sales call. You can give people the option to instantly purchase. And you can even loop in a type form here to make sure that you're only accepting people that you really want to work with predetermined characteristics to that prospect. Now, they may instantly purchase, but the great thing about selling on Instagram is we can immediately DM that prospect. We can set up an automation that will send them a question like, hey, can you tell me more about your business? Can you tell me more about your offer? And they will respond to you here. And then either you, or you can have a VA or someone else manually come in and close that deal. Now, when you have a smaller lead flow, and if you have 10 to 15, 20K deals on the line, I don't think anybody minds manually handling DMs and actually closing deals in the DMs. It's like, hey, did you watch all the stuff I sent? What questions do you have? And they'll have questions, and you can just send voice messages back, and you can basically handle them directly in the DMs without ever getting on a sales call and still get the sale. Once we have the sale, like I said before, most people's customer journey ends. They sell them here for like a few grand or something, or a few $100, and they just don't do anything else with that prospect. And that's a massive mistake, because I made most of my money off lifetime value, of having bigger clients that pay for more services and recurring services, etc. And so I have two tiers of Ascension. I have the Gold Ascension and I have the Platinum Ascension. And the Platinum Ascension, even though it'll be a very smaller amount of your clients get to Platinum stage, Platinum is what allows you to have multi-year LTV and 6-figure LTV. If you had just stopped at the first stage, you might have only got them for 5K or 8K, okay? And they would have just been done, right? But when you have a plan for actually upselling people to Gold and then upselling them from Gold to Platinum, then you can turn that 5 to 8K into 10 to 20K, and you can turn that 10 to 20K into potentially 6-figure lifetime values across the course of the year, for example. Now, I just want to recap the conversion mechanisms from this system, right? So we have our ManyChat automation for lead capture, collect our emails. We have the landing page, either VSL or written, which will either book a call or send them to a direct checkout. If it's direct checkout or DM closing, you want to send trust building assets. So FAQ videos, you want to send long form YouTube videos, podcasts, whatever it may be, that will educate the prospect on exactly what it is that you're selling and what you do and all the various details surrounding it, so they have as few questions as possible. And if it's sales call, make sure to always hyper qualify with type forms. We never get on calls with prospects that just don't have money, that aren't interested in moving forward, that don't have a real urgency to actually do something right now. And then of course we build our email lists passively off the ManyChat automation for not thirsty right now buyers, going back to the Coca-Cola method. Most of the people that go through your ManyChat are not going to be thirsty right now. But when we send them regular emails, 2 to 3 emails per week, we stay on top of mind with Instagram content, with YouTube content, and also with our emails. We're constantly top of mind, just like Coca-Cola. And so when that prospect is thirsty and they're ready to have their problem solved, they will go into your funnel, they'll go through your flow, they'll book a call, or they'll purchase right off the bat. Now, I want to talk about the hybrid Ascension offers. This is our silver, gold, and platinum tiers, okay? And this is where the hybrid model really comes into its own, because most people, most consultants, they only offer silver, and most agencies, they try to offer platinum, but they go broke in the meantime because there's not as many prospects that want to pay platinum prices. And so you have to have multiple tiers of access to you, multiple tiers of offers in order for you to have a large base of clients with minimal access. You have a medium base of clients that are higher paying, and then you have your ultra premium clients that are paying you 6 figures a year potentially. So silver, gold, and platinum. Let's start with silver. So silver is 100% done with you. This is going to be some kind of group format, okay? They have course material, very in-depth course material. They have chat support to ask questions, get responses. You can respond with Loom videos, etc. They get tools, so they have maybe some kind of AI tools, copy-paste funnels, copy-paste automations, copy-paste whatever, things that make it easy for them to implement. And then optionally, this is an optional thing, you can have group calls. Now, even though it is optional, I highly encourage you to do them, because the great thing about group calls is you get to know your clients on a much closer basis, week by week or every couple of weeks, whatever it may be. And it allows you to much more easily ascend them up the offer pyramid, okay, to a gold or a platinum, because when you're speaking with them, they will naturally tell you their pain points, what they're struggling with. You'll be able to keep a tighter loop on when they close deals and when they're making more money and when they're ready to actually take the next step to achieve a higher result, which then of course you can ascend them up the ladder into your gold method. Now, in the gold tier, gold should be 80% done with you and 20% done for you. And the reason why we do this is because it's much harder today to sell a much higher ticket done with you. People have been burned before by super expensive done with yous. And so you have to frame it in a way where they feel like, damn, I'm actually getting a lot of value for this money, right? And the done for you portion of that is what is going to increase the perceived value of the higher ticket service. But the done for you, this is really important, it should always be some kind of set up offer. It should really never be a recurring service, because recurring services, we want to charge here between 10K and 30K as a one-time payment. So as a one-time payment, we don't want it to be a recurring thing. So we want to have some kind of setup offer. Now that's going to depend on what your offer is, right? It could be setting up funnels, setting up email automations, ManyChat automations, it could be placing team members into your business. It could be setting up a dating profile. It could be setting up an entire meal plan and an entire, grocery delivery system, something like that, where you can set up some kind of system for them that will help them achieve that goal significantly faster. And of course, this is going to be a one-on-one access, okay? Here, people don't, in silver tier, people do not get one-on-one access. The most they get is group call access, and they want the gold one-on-one tier access. They want someone to be super invested in their business and take them to that next level. Then you have the gold tier. This is what I have, by the way. I have a group offer at silver, have a very in-depth one-on-one on the gold tier. And then I also transferred a lot of my systems and processes from the agency into this hybrid model. So I don't completely lose all of the work and systems that I put in there, because it was working really well and it makes us a lot of money. But I introduced the platinum tier. Now remember, I love the aspect of agency that gives us long-lasting LTV, multi-6 figures from a single client. And that's why we integrate the platinum. Now, I want to be clear. The platinum may only represent between 1 and 5 clients. Depends how many clients you're getting at the silver level. But out of all of your clients, it might be only between 1 and 5. Okay, now Platinum is a 100% on for you service with a much higher price point that will be making you at least 6 figures per year. Okay, but this is only for ultra premium clients. An ultra premium might just come into your system, into your offerings as a gold, because they want that hyper personalization. Most ultra premiums, they don't really want to get in a group format unless they want some quick info. Usually they want gold tier access. And then over time, they're like, okay, I really enjoy my experience. I just want someone to handle all this for me without having to do it all myself or figure it out myself. And then you can upgrade them to a platinum offer. Now, with platinum, we only do 12-month contracts because we want 6-figure LTV. Now, you can also get a PIF here, a pay in full, especially if they've been through your gold and they understand the value that you bring. You can structure this as PIF. Now, you might want to split it up depending on the client. You can be flexible with the packages. You might do quarterly, you might do every 6 months, or you might do yearly payment. I like to try and get between 6-month and yearly payments. Okay. Now, ultra premium might be anywhere between 10K to 20K per month or 1 year. 1 year length or 6 months, whatever, but we try to go for 1 year if we can, which means that will bring you at least 120 to 240K per year if you can land a premium client. Now, you might structure this as a flat retainer at 10 to 20K, or you might structure it as a 7 to 8K retainer plus a percentage of revenue. Now, let me also be super clear. When you take percentages, and this is a huge mistake that consultants make that have percentage deals, you only want to take a percentage of established revenue. Too many people, they're like, yeah, I closed him for, 3K per month and 25% of his revenue. Okay, how much revenue does that guy make? Oh, he's making 50K per month. Okay, so you're basically, you're not getting that much. Okay, it's not really making it that lucrative for you in the long term, because he's making 50K. And when you do revenue shares, you're usually making a percentage on what you make over their average month. And so you're essentially starting from scratch. Okay. And so they usually take a very long time to get to that level. And so if you're only charging 5 or 10% of revenue, it's not really going to be worth it. Okay. You have to make sure that the revenue is established and they're not making your 5K or 10K a month or something. You need to be looking for people that have that 6-figure plus per month revenue sources that you can actually tap into. Ideally, people that are running ads, for example. So this is how with the platinum tier, this is how you can be getting 6-figure per year deals or 6-figure lifetime value. That might be giving you 6 figures over the course of 2 years, for example, 50K per year or 60K per year. But you want to be getting large wires paid to you up front because it's going to help with cash flow, right? It's better to get, 60 or 70K today rather than having it spread out over a year. Because let me tell you, contracts basically almost mean nothing in today's world. People will avoid contracts, they'll not live up to contracts. It might cost you a ton of money in lawyers' fees to chase it up. And sometimes they're not legally binding. A good lawyer would be able to probably scrap any good contract. The only thing that matters in terms of a contract is money in the bank. So you need to have good contracts, by the way. I'm not disregarding contracts, but you also need to get as much of your money up front as possible, because that's the only thing that secures that contract in stone is actually the money in the bank. Once you can structure your offers in this way, silver, gold, and platinum, it doesn't limit you to just these small little 2 to 5K deals, okay? It allows you to tap into much bigger deals where you can get a lot of more money up front and you can hit 20, 30, 40, 50K or 100K months significantly easier because you're getting this big chunk of influx of cash in a single payment. After the hybrid Ascension offer, so we understand our system. Okay, this is the system that we're going to be putting in place. Okay. And we understand how to actually upsell people that come through the funnel. And this all works organically, by the way. But if we want to pour fuel in the fire and make it work even better, we can boost our organic with paid ads. And we don't have to spend a lot, by the way. I know before I was saying a big benefit of this is that there's no big ad budgets. That's true. There is no big ad budgets. You only have to maybe spend $100 a day or $200 a day or even $50 a day in some cases. Okay. But let me just clarify is that paid ads for this strategy are not strictly necessary. If your organic is doing really well and you're getting millions of views, you literally really do not need to do paid ads because your organic is performing really well and you're getting a lot of exposure to your audience. But unfortunately, in today's world with the algorithms, they don't show your content to your entire audience. They literally show your videos to a fraction, like 20 to 40% of your followers will see your content. And so the other half or the other 3/4 are literally people that have never seen you before. And so you can use paid ads to get in front of more of those of your existing audience and also retarget the people who have not seen you before, but just came across your content. So again, Coca-Cola Method, you're staying top of mind all the time. This also lightens your content workload, because with paid ads constantly pushing content, you don't have to create new content to go out there. You'll be less reliant on organic social media. And so if the algorithm takes a dip or for some reason your content isn't performing as well as you want it to, paid ads can help with that. You should also amplify your highest performing organic posts. So if you post a video and it gets 100K views organically or 1 million or whatever, put ad spend behind it. That's clearly a video that is working. And when you put ad spend behind it, you're going to get more people activating your ManyChat flow. And therefore, you're going to get more people through your flywheel. You're going to get more people on your calendar or more people straight to checkout. So amplify your highest performing organic posts. As a bonus, you can also just amplify normal or medium performing posts. So this is exactly how we set it up at a high level. So at the campaign level, by the way, we're using Facebook Ads Manager. We're not boosting. We're not doing the basic boost inside Instagram because they just don't work as well, right? That eats your money way quicker and gives you way less of a result. That's basically designed for like the mass market to spend money on ads, right? But we're business owners, so we know how to use Ads Manager. And if we don't know how to use it, well, you can just YouTube it. It's very easy. Okay. So we want to set up what's called traffic campaign. So the campaign objective is traffic. And then the objective of the campaign inside that is visit Instagram profile. So an ad will pop up on your ideal prospect screen and it will have your face. You'll be talking. It'll be your content that you already posted organically. And it'll have a CTA and says visit profile. They'll visit the profile. They'll watch your content. If your content's good, they'll hit follow. Boom. We've got people into our ecosystem. Okay. So here's how we actually set it up. At the ad set level, the first ad set we want to create is to retarget our existing audience. Like I said before, they only show your content to maybe 20 to 40% of your followers. And so there's a huge percentage of your followers that just don't see you really that often. And so you want to put ads in front of them, put your content in front of them as they're scrolling. It forces it in front of your audience. But you want to make sure you exclude non-buyer countries because it's life basically where, 30% of your audience might actually be from the third world. Okay. You want to exclude them and only show your ads and your content to first world countries. So USA, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, depending where you are in Europe, Germany, Spain, Italy, for example, right? Only show your ads to countries where people can actually buy the product. Second is retarget content viewers who watched your content but do not follow you. So you just have to exclude your followers and exclude non-buyer countries. So you don't actually have to deal with double spending on your previous ad set where you're already showing your content to followers. You will just retarget only people who watched the videos but didn't follow. And so again, Coca-Cola Method, you stay top of mind all the time. And the third thing, and this is, by the way, optional, you can cold target new followers. Now, again, if your organic content is performing super well, you don't really need to do this because it's going to be performing so well that it's bringing in new followers. But if you're starting from zero and you want to speed up the process, you absolutely need to be posting daily content organically every single day. But if you want to target cold audiences to try and get a quick influx of fresh leads and fresh followers, you can cold target new followers. Now, if we don't want to target everybody, again, we want to do interests. We want to do filters of location, age, plus interests. Okay. So for example, you can do USA, 25 years old plus only that are interested in business or fitness or whatever it may be. But the location is important, or the interest is important because it gets you in front of the kind of people that would be interested in your thing. And you can experiment with different interests, by the way. You can actually try open interests because sometimes the algorithm is just better at putting your content in front of people that will actually take action on it. But you can also split test different interests to see what will actually perform. Now, in terms of the actual ads that we're going to be running and what the CTA of that will be in order to move people from the start of the ad all the way to the destination, which is into our ManyChat sequence so they can actually receive our landing page. Or the retarget audience, you want to just have a video that is focusing purely on comment ManyChat automation. So you want to be sending them either some kind of free resource like a YouTube video or a podcast where it explains in depth the concept, how to do something, or you want to be a direct CTA. Like if you want to work with me, comment X and I will send you the next steps. And that will trigger a ManyChat automation that sends them trust assets, that sends them FAQ videos, and also sends them possibly your sales video, your landing page, your direct checkout, or link to book a call, right? That's what you want to be sending for retargeting your existing audience. Now, to retarget content viewers, So people who watched your content but didn't follow, you want to be saying a follow CTA. So in the video itself, you want to say, click follow. Follow me for X reason, okay? So you want to give them some kind of tangible value, give a bit of context on the results you generated, and then say, follow me. If that interests you, give me a follow. And that's the only purpose of this ad. And now, because they follow you, they will then be put into this audience of retarget audience, and they'll be getting now your comment ManyChat automation. So this is like a circle. Okay, so you get people to follow you, they get put into that have never followed you before, they get put into the ad set level, they get put into the comment ManyChat automation, and then they enter your entire flow, they enter your system. Now for cold followers, we also want to do follow CTA. Now this will be much more expensive than this one because it's totally cold. If someone has already seen your content, it'll be very cheap. Whereas if you're cold targeting, it'll be a little bit more expensive, but not that much. You might pay double, but double of a few cents is not that much, okay? And so you want to do a follow CTA for targeting cold followers to build that following base if you haven't been able to do so off the back of your organic. And so this is the paid ads strategy, okay? So once you have the system in place, the social flywheel system in place, where you're putting out your content on short form content, you're getting top of funnel traffic, you're sending them to your YouTube for trust building and nurturing for them to realize this dude is legit. They get into your funnel on ManyChat and automatically collect their email list. So that when you're sending out your weekly emails, they're getting that too there. The ManyChat will also at the same time automatically send them to the landing page, which will either send them to a direct checkout or a sales call flow. You're going to have to test that out yourself. If you have more authority, a bigger audience, direct checkout. If you're a little bit smaller or you're selling really high ticket stuff, you want to sell via sales call because people will just be more likely to purchase something for 20, 30K if they're talking to you on a call, right? But again, you want to hyper qualify. We don't want to be wasting time on people that can't afford the thing. We're not going to cut our calendar for that, right? Again, we want to make this serve our life, okay? We want to have a great life. And so we don't want to be taking endless calls with unqualified people. We qualify heavily. We take the call, we close, we ascend over time. This is going to take a few months to push people up the ascension, but you send them to gold, you send them to platinum, and off platinum, that is like a forever client. We call that a forever client. And that is a client that we feel like we could work with forever. They're paying us every month, but they're paying us lump sum for a year. And this is how we essentially build a massive bank account, essentially, because we have multi-year LTV. Now, if this is something you want to work with me to do, and implement all this stuff, just check the description. There'll be some links there to check out my landing page, book a call with me. Promise you won't regret it. Also drop me a subscribe, comment if you have any questions, DM me on Instagram, the word scale, and I'll send you more information about how to do all of this. But yeah, like, subscribe, leave comments. I'll answer your questions, no problem. And I hope you have a good one.